Hello everyone, and welcome back to one more test run video, this time with a webcam. Because now finally I got a working USB 3.0 hub. Not saying that the problems are over, the problems are still very much there, but now I can only use one extremely expensive 3.0 extension cable, and if both my capture card and webcam work. And yeah, so I just came back from visiting my parents' place, and originally, when I moved out, I left this GTX 1070 XOC at their place. Now I've had the card before. I even made like a video slightly overclocking it, but well, that was a long time ago, and yeah, we're gonna do things a bit more properly here. So you can see I already have some presets here because I remember what the card does, but this is not what we're gonna max out on. We're gonna try a few more fancy things. And I've decided to run 3D Mark Firestrike because that's just my... Oh, I haven't activated this one yet. Oops. Oops. I'm gonna have to activate that license key, which means that I'm gonna have to turn that one off real quick. And go into my folder. There we go. Now we have Firestrike activated and I can turn it back on. Oop. So yeah, let's just run a base run of Firestrike. This should pass. I don't know why this wouldn't pass. It would be kind of weird if it didn't pass. Yeah. So while the thing runs, I guess I can talk a bit about the issues I've been having still. So both my webcam, which is a Logitech Brio, and my capture card, which is an EVGA X01, both need a USB 3.0 connection. Now, I'm using my daily system to run OBS and record, and my daily system's about 2 to 3 meters away from my test bench. So the cables that these come with are not really long enough to reach there. So I had to buy a USB 3.0 extension cable, which was extremely expensive, I think like 19 euros or something. I'm not sure if you can get these cheaper anywhere, but it was the cheapest I could find. That was like, I think it's 3 meters long. Yeah, but that's just one port. I would have to buy another one if I'd want to use both the capture card and the webcam at the same time. And then I also need a USB connection for my EVC. But that one's fine with a 2.0 one, so I bought a really cheap 2.0 extension cable for that one. Yeah. So I didn't want to buy another 20 euro extension cable. So I was just like, aren't there any like 3.0 hubs? I wanted to buy a 3.0 hub a while ago, if you remember that fake thing I ended up receiving. So this time I ordered one from Amazon, and this time, well, this one seems to be actually 3.0 because I've been using a 3.0 USB stick and it's been doing like 1200 megabits, and 2.0 would have been 480 megabits, I think. So it's not maxing out 3.0 bandwidth, but it's faster than 2.0, so I'll take that. And you would think that just plugging in a 3.0 hub into that 3.0 extension cable would resolve my issues. And I mean, you can see it kind of does. We're running both the capture card and the webcam off the same extension cable right now. Problem is, both lose quality. So right now the capture card looks fine. I don't actually know how I fixed that, but it was looking awful. Like, bitrate just got awful. Yeah, so I don't know how I fixed that. Now it looks okay again, but the webcam... So, webcam over here, which is... this thing is meant to run at 4K, which for this little side view I actually put down to, I think, 1440p. Yeah, that doesn't work anymore. Not even at 1080p. I have to run it at 720p now. Any higher resolution, it's just gonna cut out video. Because apparently the webcam needs a 3.0 interface all to itself to stream that video. So yeah. I can't even plug the webcam into the front USB 3.0 ones. Then it's gonna like artifact really weirdly. So it like needs one of the 3.0. Actually, I don't have any 3.0 ports on the back of my motherboard. They're all 3.2 or 2.0. I think at least. Like I have a B550 Master and it has red and black ports, and the black ports are 2.0 as far as I know. The red ones are all 3.2. So maybe the camera needs like a 3.1 or 3.2 or whatever interface. Oh, and here's our result. Actually, I didn't. Yeah, I shouldn't have run combined in physics. I just want GPU score, like the title says. So 21,710. I should keep. I should write that down somewhere. Just make a TXT file. So base is 21,710. Save that real quick. And now let's do a bit. I know the card can push 800 memory for short bursts. And let's do the curve thing. So on 10 series and newer, you can do a little thing with the curve editor, because the 10 series and the 20 series max out at this voltage, like 1093 millivolts. 30 series max out at like exactly 1.1 volts, so they can do one step more. Everything that comes after this, nice and good, but like the card never runs this voltage. Like actually GPU boost just stops at this for 10 and 20 series and this for 30 series. But usually cards run at like this voltage, even the ones that have a really good power limit. Like my 2080 Ti would usually run between these 2 points. And this 1070 I think also runs between these 2 points a lot. And you can do a funny thing. Actually, let's reset the core clocks back to stock. You can do a funny thing. If you set all of these to -1, actually, I think you need to apply them first. Press enter. So select, arrow down, enter. You do that for all of them. Except this one, which is the max. And that one you set to whatever clock you want. So let's say we want 2100 megahertz. Press enter. Close this, apply. I'm gonna save that and that. Let's just do full fan speed again and 800 memory. Boom. Save that again. And now if I go into GPU-Z, we should, yep, we're running at our max voltage. And instead, when I select my other one, you can see how the voltage goes down. Like it even jumps around a little bit. If you do this tweak, it's just always gonna be at that max voltage as soon as it goes on a load. Actually, we're not at 2100 yet. I think I forgot, like Pascal goes in what, like, oh, it went to 75. That's curious. Sometimes the curve optimizer is a bit buggy. Now at 2100, yeah. So, yeah, so you can see we were at like CPU, wait, what? GPU load? That's CPU, or GPU clock frequency here. Yeah, so we were at like 2088, 2100 at the beginning, but then went down to 2088, and then 2075 later in the GPU tests. This one should keep your clock more steady as long as you have enough power limit, because the only thing it can throttle from now is temperature, which is a 1070. You can see we were at 56 degrees max, so it should be fine. Like, it's gonna throttle a bit, but it shouldn't that much. Because doing that, well, first off, it's gonna be at max voltage now all the time, so it's not gonna throttle from voltage. And, well, this thing has like a 250 watt power limit, which is plenty for 1070, so it's not gonna power throttle either. So the clock should be a lot more steady now. I think we're gonna like boost a little higher in the beginning and then go down one step, but like keep there and not go down to like 2075, which it was doing before. So we should hold a steady 2088 this time. If not 2100. Because, like, the curve is a bit weird. You saw how first we selected 2100 and it was 202. And then we applied it and it was actually 2075. We went back into the curve and set it to 2100 and then it was an offset of 220 something. So the curve is a bit weird sometimes, which is one of the reasons why I don't actually use to daily this on my daily system. The other reason is that the 2080 Ti consumes too much power for my liking. So I actually run my 2080 Ti undervolted until the day where it like gets slow and I need to actually overclock it for better performance. Um, but yeah, if you have a high-end Nvidia card, like an 80 or 80 Ti or like the new 90 Ti tier, like anything that uses flagship silicon, like TU102 for 20 series, 80-102 for 30 series, GP102 for 10 series, like any card that uses this flagship silicon, I think you should just run undervolted, honestly. Because Nvidia is just throwing efficiency out of the window because, oh, we want to be 1% faster than AMD. Well, yeah, but I mean, the 2080 Ti, like my 2080 Ti, has a 366 watt limit. That's kind of insane. Because like I run my card undervolted, I lose about like 70 megahertz of core clock, and it's just consuming like 210 watts now instead of 366 max. Okay, so our score is actually lower. What the hell? Okay, we still throttled to 2075. I don't get what the score is lower though. Like it's basically the exact same clock behavior. So, that shouldn't happen unless our first run had like some really good efficiency for some reason. Let's try just pumping that a bit more. And I'm gonna open the window. You might hear some sirens from outside. But it's getting kind of hot in here. Like, how warm is it in here? 26 degrees. It's actually not that hot. I get like 28 usually. But anyway, the card should be able to push a little bit more. Let's do 2115. Apply that. Like Pascal goes in, I think, 13.5 megahertz steps. 2126. Oh, that's 2 steps already. Oh, let's just run that. Let's see if it passes. It should pass on, I think. I mean, I made a video about the card overclocking it on water cooling when I first got it back from. Like, first the card went to a friend of mine who was at the time using a 1050 Ti. So I gave the 1070 to him to like actually just use as a daily card. But then one day he bought a 3070 and no longer needed the 1070. And since, well, it's my card and I bought it and just kind of gave it to him to use. But like, yeah, like once he, like, when I gave it to him, I told him once you don't need it anymore, I'd like to have it back. Because, like, what did I pay for this? 220 euros? Which at the time was an amazing deal. Ah, okay, that crashed. It might be a bit too hot. Um, but yeah, like I bought this thing in like when? 2019? Okay, 2113 I think is the step that we want. Right? Still 26. So 2112. GPU, did it just crash? Yep, it did. Wow. Why am I seeing 2100 now? Is that just weird or is it actually... The hell? How do I make this thing like... Oh, because it's set to 2100 again. Yeah, so this is what I mean with the curve is weird. Like, it does things like that. I want... Let's actually just have seats. And the annoying thing is you can't put this window, like, not be on top of everything. it is always on top of everything. So let's do 2113. I want, yes, that's exactly what I want. Maybe I should also have like a fan pointing at the card. I usually have that. I don't right now. Seeing the postcode isn't that important anyway. Well, I think you can still see it, yeah. You can still see it. So we have a fan now. Unless it like crashes right away again. So like yeah, 10 series like just generally everything after 10 series like really likes temperature scaling. Which I mean might just be a byproduct of GPU boost because it has like very specific temperature steps. Like every couple degrees is a step down in clock, which is why keeping them cool is so important for best performance. Like you can see, even though this card doesn't really run that hot, it doesn't even reach 60 degrees, we still lose 2 steps over the course of the benchmark, just because it runs a bit hotter. Like even my water-cooled 2080 Ti throttles after a while, because like it starts out at like on a cold day it starts out at like 38 degrees under load, and then over time it climbs to like 42 if I max the fans, but if I have the fans on a more sensible curves, it climbs to like 45. And at that point, I lose 1 or 2 steps in core clock. So it starts, so with my undervolted profile, it starts at 2010 and then goes down to 1995 and then to 1980. So yeah, and then with my similar like voltage curve optimized overclock, I think the card starts at 2145 and then goes down to 2030 and then 2115. Like yeah, 2145, 2130, 2115 is where it goes to. Though that only works on like cold days and with maxed fans, because it's really close to max. So yeah. It's like daily stable in winter. That score is still lower than what the hell is going on here? Like it's higher than before, but like it's weird. Like why did we get a 710 for the base score, which is yeah, we're 2088 now. And yeah, we're not going down to 2075 anymore. We're clocking higher. And at higher voltage. So why is our score lower? Or did we just have like magically really good efficiency on the first one? Okay, you know what? I'm gonna do a few tweaks. Yeah, because it's still everything to default. So performance. Then high performance, prefer maximum performance already set. Then I think that's also already set, but yeah, it's already set to performance. And yeah, that's also already set, huh? I don't know then. Or maybe it's because GPZ was open. Or maybe we were actually hitting error correction on the memory. Does GDDR5 do that? Let's just rerun it with the same core but slightly less memory. Because I know on GDDR6 you have like integrated error correction, and if you clock your memory too high, you're not essentially gonna crash, but you're just gonna lose a bunch of performance because the errors that it's producing are not like that, just slight errors that the card can still correct. Only if you go like way too high, then you start get artifacting and crashing. But for a while, your memory is gonna run seemingly stable. You're just gonna get lower performance because it's correcting its own errors, and how it's correcting them is just when it detects an error, it just goes like, hey, send the data again. So you effectively just lose a clock cycle whenever you have an error. So if you clock GDDR6 too high, you actually start seeing performance go down first and then stability. And GDDR5 might have a similar thing. I am not sure. There's also memory straps, which I have, like, I know how memory straps work on 28 nanometer AMD cards. I have no idea how they work on anything else. So I don't know how the memory straps work on the 1070, but like, yeah, like just like normal RAM, GPU memory has timings. And if you go higher frequency, the card, like at some frequency, it steps down to looser timings. So going a bit higher frequency, like over a point where it like steps down in timings, might also actually just be slower because it just stepped down to worse timings. Like you get a bit more frequency, but the performance you lose to your looser timings is much more like significant. We could also just do LOD. Firestrike, I think, is just set 3 for everything. Um, yeah. Yeah, now with the window open, we get like 55 max. That's even lower. What the hell? Like, actually, what's going on here? Like, if I rerun that, do I get a higher score again? Because that's just kinda going against everything I know. Because, like, without doing the curve, it should throttle more because it's gonna lower the voltage. And because you have less voltage, it's gonna clock stretch more. Because like clock stretching is a thing that I wanted to test for a while, and I think I'm gonna do on this card because it's the most modern card that I have available for testing outside of, well, my 2080 Ti. Um, but my daily system has an OS that I don't consider as clean enough for data, so I'm just gonna use the 1070. Because I want to test clock stretching on NVIDIA GPUs. I could have also done it on the 980 Ti, because we actually demonstrated that quite well. Because, what was it? So, Madness, from the Discord that I'm on, has a 980 Ti GOC edition, like the very, very rare 14-phase version of the Hall of Fame 980 Ti. And he clocked his card to what, like 1550 core? I don't exactly remember. Like pretty high core clocks. Um, and then I got my 980 Ti amp Omega and clocked it to like, I think slightly lower core clock because he was like on chilled water. Mine was just on normal water or even air actually. I don't think like my 980 Ti Omega is a really, really good core. Um, but yeah, so his core was slightly higher because he was running way more voltage and I think also chilled water. But actually, no, wait, it was the other way around. Yeah, it's I've just been explaining myself into a corner. No, no, no. My card was clocking higher, but his card was getting a better score because he was running more voltage. So my card, I think, maxes at 1540, and he did like 1520 then, if I remember correctly. But he was at, I think, like 1.4 volts with chilled water, and I was at stock voltage with normal water or air. And he got a, yeah, the score is actually higher. What the hell? Yeah, so like, he got a higher score at lower clocks than I did, like GPU score. And I think he even was on a less optimal CPU because like to a certain extent, at least in Firestrike with modern GPUs, your CPU does impact your GPU score. Like if you run, yeah, like if I ran this card on like a 12900K, I would get a higher score than my 8700K. And if I run this on like a 1600X, I would get a lower score because to some extent the single core performance of your CPU does affect GPU score if your card is fast enough. And I think he was running it on like some Pentium or Celeron or something, like a dual core Intel Skylake, I think. So his CPU was even less optimal than mine. Um, and yeah, he was getting a higher score because that's clock stretching. So actually, let's just see where this gets us. So apparently, doing it without curve is giving me better performance. Maybe that's just a weird driver thing. Like I haven't like this is just the most modern driver that I have on hand. Oh, it's a 2126 again. Well, let's see if that passes this time. Um, like yeah. Oh, I should have set memory to 800 again. Fast apply. So yeah, like because this shouldn't happen. Like maybe there's like the OS is pretty fresh. There's not really anything on it. It's one of the well, it's not the score OS. It's a Windows 10, so I wouldn't actually use this for scores. But I intended to use this for just like clock testing the cheap ass chips cards. That's why the background. Um, I would actually use Windows 7 for scores, which I did. I need to run them again because I like my O3 and my O1 scores might not be valid. I've been told because I forgot to show the subtest images. And I just want to try Vantage again because oh, okay, crashed. Because I don't want to let it sit on me that my air result is just the best. Like, there's something weird going on with the efficiency, and I want to find out what. So, we already went 220. But why is 220 2126 now? It wasn't 220 like... Huh. Okay, let's just apply LOD. Profile inspector. And where is it? So this we set to AA mode replay all. And then we set LOD bias to 3. Apply. And this should now close this. This should now have activated LOD for Firestrike. We're gonna see, because we're not gonna be able to read the FPS anymore and everything's gonna look like mushy. But yeah, that's LOD, and it gives you a slightly higher performance. It's not on par with like the tessellation off tweak on AMD, that is a much bigger bonus, but it's still a bonus that is allowed for HW, but like... So this is not 3D Mark legal. Like tessellation and LOD modding is not allowed for 3D Mark. It is allowed on HWBot. And I care much more about HWBot than 3D Mark because 3D Mark's database is first off a pain to search through, and second of all, they delete it regularly because of tweaks like LOD. Because for some time, 3D Mark was not able to detect if LOD is on, which, by the way, it is on now, as you can see. And once they made 3D Mark able to detect that, they just wiped the entire database. Because, well, they couldn't tell if previous results did have it on or not. HWBot decided to just allow the tweak and not wipe the database because they actually value integrity a bit more than... Well, I mean, actually, I don't see why having this tweak is such a bad thing. Like, okay, you might not use this daily, but would you run your system on, like, prefer maximum performance daily? Because that makes the card not clock down from 3D clocks, which means that at least my 2080 Ti, if it's in 3D clocks, even if it's idling and not doing anything, as long as it's in 3D clocks, it consumes 50 watts. That's quite a lot, because if it clocks down to 2D clocks, it only consumes 15. So, I mean, so if you're gonna say, oh, LOD, you wouldn't run that daily, well, I'm pretty sure you also wouldn't want to run prefer maximum performance daily, because that makes your card not clock down from 3D clocks, which is just a giant power waste. Which the current electricity prices here in Germany, and I guess the rest of the EU as well, yeah, you don't want to do that. Like, I pay like 50 to 60 euros for power a month. And that's not because of my overclocking stuff or anything. I'm not even consuming that much. Oh, that's a nice score though. The clocks look like the same. I have no idea what's causing that difference. So it's just... I mean, part of that is also LOD. Oh, wait, is it set to... it's set to American keyboard layout. I don't have an American... Like, I actually daily a US layout keyboard, because I just like it more. The test bench, however, has a German one. And the reason why there's the German one is because I forgot to check if this is a US one or not. Because I mean, I bought this keyboard for the test bench, but, like, can you see it on the webcam a bit? Like, It's a G-Scale KM570. There. Yeah. Cherry MX red switches, even as some RGB that I don't care about because I need to install G-Skill's crappy drivers for that. I'm not doing that. Same reason why my Razer keyboard's on RGB puke. But yeah, I originally bought this keyboard because I just wanted to have a mechanical keyboard for my test bench, and I was just like, hey, let's just order red switches because I heard they're good. Because I'm using Razer Greens, which is basically Cherry MX Reds made by Razer. Not Reds Blues, made by Razer. Okay, let's try that. It might work. We can't push the clock farther, right? Yeah, because it crashed instantly. But maybe the memory. We're probably gonna see some artifacting, but it might pass and give a score. But yeah, so like I ordered the keyboard, just like, hey, I just want a mechanical keyboard for a test bench, and maybe it's good enough so that I'm gonna actually daily it. Because like Reds don't click, and I heard they're like a bit better for like some people, because like they're easier and faster to press than the clicky ones, though I kind of doubt that. Anyway, I forgot to check that if it's a German or an English one, or a US one. The English one's also bad, for the same reason that the German one's bad. Because I can't really show it because it's on the other end of the keyboard. But if you look up the differences between the US layout and the German/UK layout, you will see that between the Shift key and either Z or Y, because for some reason the German keyboard flips Y and Z around. But yeah, between the left shift and that key, you don't have a different key on the US layout. You do have another key there on the German and the UK layout, which is like the greater and smaller than key. And that key means, like, the keyboard doesn't get wider because of it. The only way to make that key be there is to shorten the left shift key. Problem is, well, I don't know if I have, like, relatively big hands, but, like, I am quite tall, so I assume my hands are also a bit bigger than average. Basically, when I try to use a keyboard like that, it actually actively hurts to use with that small shift key, because I have to like bend my small finger like all the way to the left, and like back down under the palm of my hand to hit that shift key. And the shift key is not a key that you like just cannot use. You use that a lot. Well, like for both gaming and just general typing. So yeah, I want a keyboard that doesn't have this short-ass shift key. I want the long one that the US layout has. So that's why I daily a US layout keyboard. Also, a different reason is the US layout that's a better score. Nice. Other reason is the US layout is better than the German one for typing, because like like German has the Umlaute and like the sharp as thing, and well they gotta have keys as well. Oh wait, I should type the score. 22,773. I don't actually remember what the highest score I got out of the 980 Ti was. I think we're kinda close though. So maybe I spoke too soon about the 980 Ti being like on 1070 Ti levels. Though this is a pretty good 1070, and I'm not like the 1070 Ti and the 1070 are just like the same thing, but the 1070 Ti has like more cores. So you might get to 1070 Ti levels with a normal 1070 if it just has good core clocks, which this one has. Like this one's doing like 2100, 2088, which for Ampere is like expected. For Pascal and Turing, it's like for Turing it's good. For Pascal it's pretty good because like for Pascal there's plenty of cards that can barely do 2 gigahertz, and this one's doing 2.1. So yeah, okay. 900 did actually pass. There's only one logical conclusion to this. Yay, 10 gigahertz mem effective. Oh wait, no, MS. That's like the weird thing about MS Afterburner. For some cards, it's showing the actual effective. For some, it's using the actual speed, and for some, it's using half of effective. For my 2080 Ti, it's showing half of effective. So I assume this one's the same. So this one should be effectively 10 gigahertz memory clock. Which, wait, is that 2.5 giga? Wait, what? Is that 2.5 DRAM clock? Because, like, it's not a times 2 like normal DDR, it's like a times 4, I think, for GDDR5 and GDDR6, and then GDDR5X and GDDR6X is like a times 8 or something stupid like that. Yeah, because my... Oh yeah, it's artifacting now. Please pass. Yeah, actually, so like... My 2080 Ti is running at 2143 effective DRAM, and that times 8 is 17144, which is the effective speed. So GDDR6 is also times 8. Yeah, it's artifacting kind of hard. Maybe the... I don't know. So it's Micron memory on this one. This is the first card I have... Like, this is the only card I have with Micron. Yes, I know Micron is just rebranded, like, because, like, Elpida went bankrupt and Micron bought them, and that's where they got, like, their GDDR... Well, I think even... Oh, damn it. Yeah, GT2 crashed because it's a memory test. Okay, so 1000 doesn't work, so... Like, we could do a thing... It reset hard, huh? I could do a thing that doesn't really work. Maybe it works this time, but usually setting... Like, usually for memory clock, at least on NVIDIA cards, I rarely see something work that's... Yeah, I usually only go in 100 steps on memory clock. And on like Kepler and Newer. On Fermi, it's a different thing, because those have just low enough memory clock, so that actually matters. But like on Kepler and above, I don't think I've seen more than like 1 or 2 cards that actually run like memory clocks that don't end in 2 zeros. Like if 900 doesn't work, then 910, 9 so yeah, so if 900 works but 1000 doesn't, then 910, 920, 930 and so on also don't work. Yeah, so like usually the stability for memory on NVIDIA it seems to end on like flat 100s. I could be wrong, of course. This is like this is the newest GDDR5 I have. And it's also Micron, which is, yeah. Everything else is Elpida and much, much older, like 28 nanometer. This is Pascal 60 nanometer, I think. Yeah, I think it is 60 nanometer. And actually, I think this is gonna pass because this is not artifacting nearly as badly. So maybe I'm actually wrong here. Maybe this is gonna run like not flat 100s. Just to get through this test though, like GT2 is a lot heavier on memory than core. Like the GT1's core heavy, GT2's memory heavy. Doesn't mean that a crash in that always points to one. You can crash because of both in both tests, but yeah, both tests hit different things harder. Did that pass? I think that... Wait, did it? Oh yeah, it passed. Okay, what's the score? That is better, is it? Okay, barely. uh, so yeah, we got 7 points for 50 more megahertz memory clock and a ton of artifacting. So we're definitely reaching like the point of diminishing returns here. And actually, how long is the video now? 40 minutes! What? I feel this is like 15. Okay, yeah, I'm stopping now. I was thinking of like running 975, but yeah, I'm just gonna stop now. So yeah, for some reason doing the curve thing really sucks apparently. Um, I have no idea why actually, cause like it should be clock throttling less and you get more voltage, so less clock stretching. But for some reason the clocks like the score is lower. I have no idea why. But this is the results. Like, maybe there's like some driver stuff going on, but these are the results. Like, there we go. Make them nice and big. Yeah, so that's the GPU score results. Keep in mind, base is actually like the base overclock, I remember, not actual stock. Uh, yeah, actually, let's do a last stock run. Just to see like how much you can get from let's just everything to stock and run this. Actually, I should disable LOD too for actual stock. Inspector. Let's just reset everything to stock. Let's have it actually stock. That is restore to default, yeah. Apply changes. Hey, it hasn't tried to launch yet. So now it hasn't just reset LOD, now it's also gonna reset like everything, like also the high performance stuff and so on. So this is what you get if you just plug the card in, install the drivers and go. Well, actually, should be more because the CPU is overclocked, RAM's overclocked, and this is a light install of Windows that has basically nothing on it. So this is still gonna perform better than like people's daily systems who just plug and play. To be honest, I don't expect a really big difference. Also, the fans of the card are off. I don't know. Yeah, you can't see that, but the fans are off right now because that's just this. Wait, did the? Oh, I think the webcam died. Yeah, the webcam died. So yeah, there's more stuff going on. Like, I have no idea why the webcam just died. It's like I'm waving my hand over the thing and it's not doing it anymore. So the webcam died. No idea why that happens. Yeah, I have no idea why that happens. I have no idea how to fix it, and it is gonna happen in the live stream. And as far as I know, the only fix to get it back is like to close OBS, which you might imagine is kind of a problem if you're live streaming. Yeah, so this webcam is like really, really annoying because I don't know, it refuses to work with anything else that isn't a direct connection to a USB 3.2 port on the back of my motherboard. I might actually have to spend another 20 euros on a USB 3.0 extension cable, damn it. Like, I could try unplugging the webcam, but I don't think it's gonna do anything. Like, okay, so 18,823. Yep, so I mean that is kind of a difference. Like, let's get a calculator. Let's take our best result. 22,780 divided by 18,823. That's a 21% difference. That's not bad. that's actually more than yeah, that's actually more than I expected. I expected like 10% at most. So yeah, 21% off. Maybe I can just put that in the thumbnail. 21% overclock on GTX 1070. Um, yeah, I mean this is one of those cards though that come at like 1700 megahertz core at stock. They're just, yeah, close to the mark. I can't check anymore. But I think it does like 1700 to 1800 core stock. And like the fans don't turn on until it's at 60 degrees, so that it's gonna run like quite hot too. So it's like not one of the like I think yeah I think it's actually is it factory overclocked? Like the card is called XOC, but I think this might actually just like there is an XOC 1070. There might also just be an X, which isn't OC'd but uses the same PCB. I'm not entirely sure which this one actually is. I just assume it's an XOC because that's I thought it's the only SKU, but it might not be. So anyway, video's long enough now. So yeah, this is kind of what you can get out of a. It's not a super good 1070, but like it's doing 2100 core. The memory is doing some nice high offsets. It has a cooler where it's not running too hot. The PCB is actually not that great. It's just a 5-phase core, but it has 2-phase memory, which you don't get on all 1070s. But yeah, so like this is kind of what you can expect from like a good 1070, I guess. So thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed another test video. This one should have had better audio quality because I'm not using RTX voice because the phase change is not running. And well, we had a webcam for like half of it until it started to die, and unplugging it and replugging it didn't do anything. Can I like... If I deactivate it... Oh, yeah, so I can just deactivate it and activate it again, apparently. That unfreezes it. Okay, that's good to know for the live stream. I just have to notice that it froze. Oh yeah, you can see it's doing the win artifact and stuff right now. You saw that thing? Like... Or like the image is doing weird stuff? Like that's what I mean. That's what happens if it isn't the only thing. Like either it doesn't straight up doesn't work or it does this. If you don't connect it directly to a 3.0, 3.2 in the back of my motherboard. I have no idea why it's doing that. It's at 720p already. Like, well, what am I supposed to do? Device default? Like, that's this resolution. Actually, I might end up doing that. It doesn't look too bad. Like, it looks really mushy, but I think it doesn't look... It's gonna be fine for a live stream. You can still kinda see the postcode, which is like the main point of this. Whatever. I've been dragging out this video for 8 more minutes than I wanted to. So, thank you for watching. I hope, yeah, I'm pleasantly surprised with how well the card did. So, I hope you're too. So, if you also have a 1070, like, yeah, try something like this. This is kind of what you can expect if your card's good. And this really is it now. Goodbye.